Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. So my sound sounds slightly weird, so let me make sure my mic audio is up the way it's supposed to be up. I've mentioned before that my rig is not what it used. Something happened to my mic after an update, so I had to come back to Old Faithful here. Besides, people said this sounds better than my other mic, so fuck it, let's go with it. There was a school shooting recently in Florida. I'm going to read the story. I am just going to talk about this one. In fact, let's go to the story first before I get my comments. Florida school shooting suspect was a troubled ex-student who was crazy about guns. He loved guns. The man accused of opening fire at Florida High School on Wednesday, killing 17 people, was a troubled former student who loved guns and was expelled for unspecified disciplinary reasons, police and former classmates say. Nicholas Cruz, 19, was arrested about an hour after the shooting rampage at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, Broward County Sheriff Scott Israel told reporters. Cruz had been expelled from the school for reasons that have not been made public. Was found with multiple ammunition magazines and one AR-15 style rifle, Israel said. We've already begun to dissect his website and the things on social media that he was on, and some of the things he came to mind are very, very disturbing, Israel said. Chad Williams, 18, a senior at Stoneman Douglas High School, remembered Cruz as a troubled classmate from middle school. He said Cruz would set off fire alarms day after day and finally got expelled in the 8th grade. So you see where this is going. This kid was just fucked up. He was just off. He had mental issues. He loved guns. I mean, but you know, he liked to set off fire alarms. So right off the bat, something's wrong with him. Donald Trump put out a dumbass tweet, which again is Donald Trump, so you don't necessarily expect anything else. His tweets are the tweets that are clever that he makes. Some of his tweets are barbed. Some of those are funny. I always said that he's what he lacks in other ways. From a tweet standpoint, he is a tweet expert. On this one, it was gross. A lot of his tweets were gross. This one was also gross because it insinuating in some way that the classmates were in some way responsible or culpable for this kid flipping out in the way that this kid did. This is the maniac himself. And let's take a look at how mainstream media covers this. Ah, come on. They tricked me. I thought the video was already up. Let's see.
This is a
damn
event.
I'm not feeding into your capitalist endeavor, buddy. Look, I guess my point to this is these guys Democrats make the argument of gun control. Republicans make the argument that these are, you know, this just happens every so often. These are bad apples, you know, that type of stuff. Oh, here we are. Here's the guy. Let's see how CNN handles this issue.
We're talking about legislation. A child of God is dead. Cannot we acknowledge in this country that we cannot accept this? I can't do it, Wolf. I'm sorry. We can't do it. Pups.
There you go, buddy. Work it up.
This is a can't miss it.
Look, I'm not laughing at the fact that a kid was killed. I add all the severity and the gravity to it that it deserves. I'm laughing at a grown man getting on CNN and crying and weeping about it. That's what I'm laughing at. It is not just about gun control. It is not just about gun control. And the Republican Party's answer to this is even more comically ridiculous. Oh, it's just a bad apple. Oh, it's just this. Oh, it's just that. Do you understand that we lead the world in these? What is it fundamentally about us that creates this particular situation in our society? That's the question that should be on the block. That is not a political answer. That is a technical answer. What I mean by that is, if that's the question that comes out, if Congress honestly wanted to regard that question, when Congress wasn't pushed by certain special interests or anything else, head in the box, if Congress honestly wanted to address that answer, then that's a technical answer. That's a technical question. What do experts say are the main reasons and the drivers for this? What are the social pressures that creates individuals that feel the need to go into a place and shoot the place up? What are the things that are implicit in the society itself? When I'm watching a gun movie, what am I feeling about that particular gun movie? One after the next, after the next, after the next. Where superheroes feel like punching somebody in the face, beating the shit out of somebody is somehow some noble act when they're going outside the confines of the law to do those things. I'm trying to get across to this point of what are the things in your particular nation that are driving the behavior where a kid needs to feel the need to go into a store or go into a school and murder a bunch of people. It is not the gun. I agree with you that the gun adds a problem to that because the gun makes it at that point a mass murder. Yes, you can have mass stabbings, but it's a hell of a lot harder to do that. But behind the gun is a person who's wielding that weapon and he feels the need. There's something in that person who says, I need to wake up this morning, I need to take this weapon, I need to fill it with ammo, and I need to go out and shoot a bunch of people in the face. What I'm getting at, and the charge that I'm making here, is not weeping on CNN. Oh, we can't accept this. We can't accept this. You should have said that on the first one. You should have said that on the second one, on the third, on the fourth, on the fifth. At this point, you should be used to it. This is us. Those kids, for the most part. Look, I said this in my other video. You can have, 300 and some odd million people in the country. You create a pressure cooker in that country. Some people are going to crack in that pressure cooker earlier than others. Some people, yes, have mental illnesses. Some people, for the most part. Some people, yeah, but not all. It is disingenuous to say all. And in those cases where the person is not necessarily mentally ill, and even if the person is, what are the pressures in the society itself that driving the behavior to create this epidemic of people going into schools and shooting people in the face? That's the question. That's the only question that needs to be asked. It's not about guns, a predetermined answer by Democrats. It's not everybody is just mentally ill who does this, and it's that their friends' fault for not bringing it up for Republicans. You guys are fucking idiots. No, the honest, technical answer. How do you do this? How do you solve this? What's causing it? Let's get to that point. What's digging in the person that got him to do this? Not some shallow answer. What's digging in him? Is there commonality in each person who's going into a school and taking this behavior? And if so, what are those commonalities? What are the drivers of those behaviors that's causing that? That's not going to be asked. You're not going to get a technical solution because it's always going to be ensconced in the shit of politics. So we move on and we wait for the next one. Crying on CNN saying we can't accept this is not the same thing as getting something accomplished. And it's not even substantive from the standpoint of conversation and talking about how to do it. I'll leave it at that. I don't want this one to be too long because the other one ran magnificently long. Let me explain what I mean by technical answer before I end this. If you say the United States lags the world in regards to healthcare, and administration comes in and says, look, we need to do something about this. We have 300 some odd million people in this country. We are the richest country on the planet. At the very least, we're spending like nearly a fucking $1 trillion for military. We can make sure that the people in our country are covered. At the very least, that's the least we can do for each other. Each of us are vulnerable. The 99% are vulnerable. Let's make sure that they're taken care of. You can be dirt poor. You can be living on the street. But at the end of the day, if you need help, you can come into a hospital and you're not going to have $15,000, $20,000 bill dragging out for the rest of your life. Then the question becomes, how do we do this? How do we do this? How do we pull this off? How do they do it in other nations? What's the cheapest way to do it for the most amount of service that you can get? How do we do it? That's a technical answer. That's what I mean. That's people sitting in a room arguing with each other, looking over the data, poring over the data to see how other nations do it. Are there other ways to make this better? What are the people saying who are in the field themselves about the problems and the vagaries of the system? That's a technical answer. We don't get technical answers, or we don't get, that's a technical question. We don't get technical answers, however. We get answers ensconced in ideologies. I'm saying part of the problem here is you get answers ensconced in ideologies, not necessarily answers by people who know what the fuck they're talking about. I'm not going to keep this going. Look, something needs to change. It's not just kids going into schools. It's people sleeping on the streets. It's us having a military that is shooting people in the face around the world and getting us more ensconced in other nations. It's us murdering a large amount of civilians, and then that same president pretends as if he's so broke up over shootings. I don't understand how you can sit in a room and have a kill list about shooting people in the face. How you can willfully murder civilians knowing that you're murdering large amount of civilians and the things that you're doing. And then the moment that somebody gets killed in the States, you're like, it hurts us so deeply. Yes, I know I've been killing thousands of people, but this one death hurts. Your society ensconced in this idea of this heroic gun, this thing of these people using guns to settle their issues in one movie after the next, and in music and movies. This is our society. That's the point I'm making to you. There are no easy answers. It's not a, if we just restrict guns. It's not a, well, shit happens sometimes. It's an examination of who we are as human beings and what is the environment that produces the individual that wants and feels the need to do this. That's your starting point. That's your starting point. It's a technical question. It's not ideological. If people are coming at you from an ideological standpoint, then their answer already is going to be have some bias and some fault and some fuck ups and failures built into it that didn't necessarily hit it honestly. So I'll leave it at that. Yes, I'm joking the guy who's crying on CNN because he shouldn't be out there crying on CNN. That's my point. I'm biased on this. I'm biased on saying men cry like this. My dad, I hadn't seen him in for God knows how long. And when I was ill, he was not necessarily around. Meaning, despite the number of times I was in the hospital, even in multiple times it looked like I was not going to be around, never showed up. Never showed up. So he comes to the house one day. I'm still a kid. I'm still maybe 18. And he breaks out crying. And I don't know how to process this. I have no faculty to process this. This is a grown man crying in my direction over something that he felt he did wrong, or some way he feels he needs to be able to, I guess, apologize for not being there for your kid. I left the room. I didn't know how to process it. It's like, you can have a conversation with me. I mean, I don't know where the tears need to come in. And if you notice, that guy looked like he didn't even have tears. Like he was forced it out. Like, there's a tear. There's a tear. And the sad part is CNN was like, keep it on him. Keep it on him. He's going to brace out. He's going to break. Oh, there it is. There it is. Focus on that one single tear as it falls down his eye. Yes, I'm disparaging him. Yes, I'm being an asshole. Yes, I'm being a bit of a prick. But what I'm saying here is not necessarily wrong in regards to the rest of the video. Yes, on this point, I'm biased. But on the other part of the video, I am right. If you want things solved, those things to some degree become technical solutions and honest evaluations of your society, not these run-of-the-mill ideological answers that's supposed to give some kind of real-world effect. Yes, it may be incrementally changed. Yes, I agree. Gun laws. You should have gun laws. And those gun laws should be a little bit more stringent. Yes, I agree. Maybe a lot more stringent. But it doesn't reach to the main issue of the person and the society that creates that person. I'll leave it at that. Alright guys, if you enjoy the content, feel free to share, like, subscribe, and of course, you can always support the Patreon. Thanks guys.